We have convened this press conference to make an announcement in regard to the decision taken by the Tamil National Alliance pertaining to the forthcoming presidential election on the 8th of January 2015. Over the past few weeks, we have engaged in a very earnest consultation with our people, both in the northern and eastern provinces and in other parts of the country too. And we have followed the campaign and the positions taken up by the two main candidates, President Maithri and the joint opposition candidate, Mr. Maithri. And after very earnest and deep consultations amongst ourselves, we have arrived at a decision. Our decision, taken unanimously after earnest consultation with our people, both in the north and the east and the rest of the country, is that the Tamil National Alliance will, at the forthcoming presidential election, extend its fullest support to the joint opposition candidate, Mr. Maithri. Why we have come to this decision? The decision has been taken after very, very serious consideration. We have not really looked at the manifestos to the extent possible, but we want to watch their pronouncements. And insofar as one of the candidates, President Rajapaksa, is concerned, he's also been president for the past 10 years, and we have watched his performance. He has been re-elected president after the conclusion of the war, and we have particularly watched his performance in the course of the past 5 years after the completion of the war. And though the candidates in their respective manifestos may not have stated very much in regard to what the political solution should be to the country's national question, we are inclined to the view, based particularly upon the performance of President Maithri in the past, that we would rather repose our faith in the joint opposition candidate, Mr. Maithri, rather than expect what has not happened in the past 10 years to happen hereafter.
Then about the trust you have put forward on common candidate Maithri. So have you all held discussions about the police powers and devolution of power, which were the important things which TNA stand for?
We have discussed questions relating to a political solution with all political leaders. We have discussed it with President Maithri. We have discussed it at bilateral meetings we have had with persons appointed by him. That's a continuing process. I must tell you very frankly that we have not come to any understanding with anybody. We did not expect to come to any understanding with anybody. We have talked to President Rajapaksa over 10 years and engaged in very serious bilateral talks. We are aware of the position. The evolution of a political solution is a continuing process. It is something we are engaged in, and given all the circumstances, we think that the election of a new president would be a positive step towards the evolution of such a political solution. Our people are aware of the position. Our people have gone through tremendous difficulties, and the people are conscious of that. I think our people have been waiting for this announcement, and with your assistance, I am sure this message will reach our people. We will also do our best to ensure that the people give effect to this decision. President Maithri Rajapaksa invited us for negotiations, and we negotiated with President Maithri Rajapaksa's government, but the JHU was still with him. So I don't see any reason why we should not negotiate with Mr. Maithri Sirisena, for the simple reason that the JHU is here. And as far as we are concerned, we are prepared to even negotiate with the JHU. We don't reject any political formation. We would like to work with every political formation to ensure that we are able to achieve a solution that would be in the best interest of the whole country and also our people. That's our position. Very unfortunately, the provincial government has been prevented by President Maithri Rajapaksa and his government from performing their functions as effectively as they should have done and should have been able to do. Our people are people who would have observed all these things.
Do you intend to take up any ministerial portfolios in the national unity government that he proposes?
That is not in contemplation now. That is not something that we have addressed our mind to. First, the presidential election must be over. Everything else needs to be considered only after the presidential election is over. Nothing is static in the world. Everything keeps changing. And when there was operational in this country, an organization like the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Nadu, for a very, very hard, ruthless militant organization. The situation in this country was different. But with that organization ceasing to exist, a new situation has come about in this country, where everybody is freer to act and to take decisions.
Even you.
Including us?
Yeah.
Including everybody. Including even the government. Including even the opposition parties. Including everyone. Well, in 2001, both the government and the opposition wanted to negotiate with the LTTE. Only wanted to negotiate with the LTTE. So in that context, the LTTE had a certain importance. And the Tamil people entrusted the responsibility of conducting negotiations to the LTTE. In 2005, it was the LTTE which called upon the Tamil people to boycott. The Tamil people didn't vote. To be quite honest with you, I want to be very frank with you, there was not much of a role that we could have played. That the people would not have defied the LTTE and come out to vote. In fact, one might say that President Maithri Rajapaksa was victorious as a result of that boycott. I don't want to go into that question anymore, but there are stories about how that boycott was engineered, which you must be aware of. Let's not make any mistake about this. We want Mr. Maithri Sirisena to be elected president of this country. A government that failed to deliver on a political solution, a government that failed on several fronts, in regard to democracy, in regard to the supremacy of parliament, in regard to the independence of the judiciary, in regard to bribery and corruption, in regard to the media. Mr. Maithri Sirisena has broken away from the government for these reasons. Therefore, we think we should repose our faith in him.
How do you think he will pick up the courage to talk about you all now, about the Tamil question, about your support? Because he's being accused of being pro-LTT and pro-Tamil.
The whole country is aware of the sort of campaign that is being carried on by the president and by his government. Before Mr. Maithri Sirisena can be expected or called upon to act, he must be in a position to exercise the power to act. But we are confident that all the people of this country will, in the interest of this country, take a decision that will be good for this country and will elect Mr. Maithri Sirisena as their president.